The sun was just beginning to rise over the vast, open plains of the American West, casting a golden glow across the rugged landscape. The air was crisp, carrying with it the faint scent of sagebrush and earth. Somewhere in the distance, a lone coyote howled, its voice echoing across the silent expanse. But this peaceful morning was about to be shattered by a desperate struggle for survival, one that would test the limits of courage, determination, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. It all began when a wild Mustang, a symbol of freedom and untamed spirit, found himself in a situation no creature should ever face. The horse, a majestic stallion with a coat the color of storm clouds, had been roaming the plains with his herd. But as he galloped across the open terrain, his powerful hooves pounding against the ground, disaster struck. The earth beneath him gave way, and before he knew it, he was plunging into darkness. The Mustang had stumbled into an abandoned water well, its walls slick and unforgiving. He crashed into the icy water below, the impact knocking the wind out of him. For a moment he lay there, stunned and disoriented, the cold water lapping at his sides. But as the shock wore off, panic set in. He thrashed wildly, his hooves scraping against the stone walls as he tried to find a foothold. But there was none. The well was too deep, its walls too smooth. He was trapped. Hours passed, and the Mustang's strength began to wane. The water was freezing, sapping his energy, and the walls of the well offered no escape. His breathing grew labored, his movements slower and more desperate. He whinnied, a sound that was both a cry for help and a lament for his lost freedom. But out here in the middle of nowhere, who would hear him? Who would come to his rescue? As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the Mustang's situation grew more dire. His body was battered and bruised from his frantic attempts to escape, and the cold water was taking its toll. He was near death, his once proud spirit fading with each passing moment. But just when all hope seemed lost, a miracle happened. A group of ranchers out checking their cattle heard the faint sound of a horse in distress. At first they thought it was their imagination, a trick of the wind. But as they drew closer, the sound grew louder, a desperate, heart-wrenching cry that sent chills down their spines. Following the sound, they soon discovered the source of the distress. There, in the depths of the abandoned well, was the Mustang, his eyes wide with fear and exhaustion. The ranchers knew they had to act fast. Time was running out, and the horse's life hung in the balance. But rescuing a trapped animal from a well was no easy task. It would require skill, patience, and a whole lot of courage. One of the ranchers, a man named Tom, quickly took charge. He had grown up on this land and knew it like the back of his hand. He also had a deep love for animals, and the sight of the suffering Mustang filled him with determination. "We're not leaving him here," Tom said, his voice firm. "We're going to get him out, no matter what it takes." The first step was to assess the situation. The well was deep, nearly 20 feet, and its narrow walls made it impossible for the horse to climb out on his own. The water, though not deep enough to drown him, was cold and sapping his strength. The ranchers knew they had to act quickly, but they also had to be careful. One wrong move could make the situation even worse. Tom and his team quickly got to work. They gathered ropes, harnesses, and any other equipment they thought might help. They also called for backup, knowing they would need all the help they could get. As they prepared for the rescue, the Mustang watched them with wary eyes. He was exhausted, but there was still a spark of hope in his gaze. He seemed to sense that these humans were here to help him. The first attempt to rescue the horse involved lowering a harness into the well. The idea was to secure it around the Mustang's body and then use a pulley system to lift him out. But the horse, still panicked and distrustful, resisted. He thrashed and kicked, making it nearly impossible to get the harness on him. The ranchers knew they had to calm him down if they were going to have any chance of success. Tom, who had a way with animals, decided to try a different approach. He climbed down into the well, carefully lowering himself until he was just a few feet above the water. The Mustang eyed him warily, but Tom spoke to him in a soft, soothing voice. "It's okay, buddy," he said. "We're here to help you. Just stay calm and we'll get you out of here." Slowly the horse began to relax. Tom's calm demeanor seemed to have a calming effect on him. With the Mustang's cooperation, the ranchers were finally able to secure the harness around his body. It was a delicate operation requiring precision and patience, but they managed to get it done. Now came the hard part, lifting the horse out of the well. The ranchers attached the harness to a pulley system and began to pull. It was slow, grueling work. The Mustang was heavy, and the well's narrow walls made it difficult to maneuver him. But the ranchers didn't give up. They pulled with all their strength, their muscles straining as they worked to free the trapped animal. As the horse was slowly lifted out of the well, the tension was palpable. Everyone held their breath, hoping and praying that the rescue would be successful. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the Mustang's head emerged from the well. His eyes were wide with fear, but there was also a glimmer of relief. The ranchers continued to pull inch by inch until the horse was finally free. The moment the Mustang's hooves touched solid ground, a cheer went up from the ranchers. They had done it. Against all odds, they had saved the horse's life. But their work wasn't done yet. The Mustang was weak and injured, and he needed immediate medical attention. Tom and his team quickly got to work, tending to the horse's wounds and warming him up. They covered him with blankets and gave him water, doing everything they could to make him comfortable. As they worked, the Mustang seemed to sense that he was in good hands. He nuzzled Tom's hand, a gesture of gratitude that brought tears to the rancher's eyes. Over the next few days, the Mustang slowly began to recover. His strength returned and his wounds started to heal. But the experience had left its mark. The once wild stallion was now more trusting of humans, and he seemed to form a special bond with Tom. The rancher in turn felt a deep connection to the horse. He knew that the Mustang's rescue had been a team effort, but he also knew that it was a moment he would never forget. As the days turned into weeks, the Mustang's transformation was nothing short of remarkable. He went from being a terrified, trapped animal to a symbol of resilience and hope. His story spread far and wide, inspiring people everywhere. And for Tom and his team, it was a reminder of why they did what they did. They were more than just ranchers. They were guardians of the land and the creatures that called it home. The Mustang's rescue was a testament to the power of compassion and determination. It showed that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, there is always hope. And it reminded us all of the incredible bond that exists between humans and animals, a bond that can overcome even the greatest of challenges. As the sun set over the plains, casting a warm golden light across the landscape, the Mustang stood tall and proud. He was a survivor, a symbol of the indomitable spirit that resides in all of us. And as he galloped across the open terrain, his mane flowing in the wind, it was clear that he was finally free. Free to roam, free to live, and free to be the wild, untamed creature he was always meant to be. But this story doesn't end here. There are countless other animals out there facing their own struggles and fighting for survival. And just like the Mustang, they deserve a chance to live, to thrive, and to be free. That's why it's so important to support the people and organizations who dedicate their lives to rescuing and protecting these incredible creatures. Whether it's through donations, volunteering, or simply spreading the word, every little bit helps. So, if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the power of compassion and the importance of standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves, then don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey. Together we can make a difference. Together we can be the voice for the voiceless, the hope for the hopeless, and the heroes for those who need us most. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about saving one horse, it's about saving them all. It's about creating a world where every creature, big and small, has the chance to live a life free from fear and suffering. And it's about reminding ourselves that no matter how dark things may seem, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. All we have to do is reach out and grab it. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe now and let's make a difference together. Because every like, every share, and every subscription brings us one step closer to a better world, for the Mustang, for all animals, and for us. Thank you for watching, and remember, the power to change lives is in your hands. Let's use it wisely. As the Mustang regained his strength, his story continued to ripple across the community, touching the hearts of everyone who heard it. People came from miles around to catch a glimpse of the horse that had defied death, the horse that had become a living symbol of hope and resilience. Children brought carrots and apples, their eyes wide with wonder as they reached out to touch his soft muzzle. Adults, too, were moved by his presence, many of them sharing their own stories of survival and second chances. The Mustang had become more than just a horse. He was a beacon of inspiration, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always a way forward. But while the Mustang's physical wounds were healing, the emotional scars of his ordeal ran deep. He was no longer the same wild stallion who had once roamed the plains with his herd. The trauma of being trapped in the well had left him wary and cautious, his once bold spirit tempered by fear. He would startle at sudden noises, his ears flicking back and his eyes wide with alarm. Even the sight of the well, now covered and secured by the ranchers, sent shivers through his powerful frame. Tom, who had taken on the role of the Mustang's primary caretaker, noticed these changes. He knew that the horse's journey to recovery wasn't just about healing his body, it was about healing his soul. And so, Tom made it his mission to help the Mustang rediscover his trust in the world. Every day he spent hours with the horse, talking to him in that same soft, soothing voice that had calmed him in the well. He brushed his coat, fed him by hand, and simply sat with him, allowing the Mustang to feel safe and secure. Slowly but surely the bond between man and horse grew stronger. The Mustang began to relax in Tom's presence, his wary eyes softening as he nuzzled the rancher's hand. It was a small but significant step, a sign that the horse was beginning to trust again. And as the days turned into weeks, the Mustang's transformation became even more apparent. His movements became more fluid, his posture more confident. He started to play, tossing his head and kicking up his heels in a way that brought smiles to everyone who saw him. But Tom knew that the Mustang's journey wasn't over yet. The horse was still a wild creature at heart, and his true healing would only come when he was able to return to the life he was meant to live, a life of freedom. And so, Tom began to make plans for the Mustang's release. He consulted with wildlife experts and veterinarians, ensuring that the horse was strong enough to survive on his own. He also worked with local authorities to find a suitable location for the release, a place where the Mustang could roam freely without the risk of encountering another abandoned well. The day of the release was bittersweet. On one hand, it was a celebration, a triumph of resilience, compassion, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. On the other hand, it was a farewell, a moment of letting go. As Tom led the Mustang to the edge of the open plains, the horse seemed to sense that something big was about to happen. He pricked his ears forward, his nostrils flaring as he took in the scent of the wild. Tom knelt down, placing a hand on the Mustang's neck. "This is it, buddy," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You're free now. Go live the life you were meant to live." With that, he stepped back, giving the Mustang the space he needed. For a moment, the horse stood still, his eyes scanning the horizon. Then, with a powerful burst of energy, he took off, his hooves pounding against the earth as he galloped across the open plains. His mane and tail streamed behind him, a picture of pure, unbridled freedom. It was a sight that brought tears to the eyes of everyone who witnessed it. As the Mustang disappeared into the distance, Tom felt a mix of emotions: pride, sadness, and an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He knew that the horse's journey was far from over, but he also knew that he had done everything he could to give him a second chance. And in that moment he made a silent promise: to continue fighting for the animals who couldn't fight for themselves, to be a voice for the voiceless, and to never give up, no matter how difficult the odds. But the Mustang's story didn't end with his release. In the weeks and months that followed, there were sightings of him across the plains. He had rejoined a herd of wild horses, his presence bringing a sense of strength and unity to the group. People who saw him reported that he looked healthier and more vibrant than ever, his coat gleaming in the sunlight and his eyes shining with a newfound sense of purpose. And as for Tom, the experience changed him in ways he never could have imagined. He became an advocate for animal rescue, using his platform to raise awareness about the dangers of abandoned wells and the importance of protecting wildlife. He also formed a non-profit organization dedicated to rescuing and rehabilitating animals in need, inspired by the Mustang's incredible journey. The Mustang's story became a legend, a tale of survival and hope that was passed down from generation to generation. It reminded people of the power of compassion, the importance of perseverance, and the incredible bond that exists between humans and animals. And it served as a call to action, a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference, no matter how small our actions may seem. So, as we come to the end of this story, let's take a moment to reflect on the lessons we've learned. Let's remember the Mustang's courage, Tom's compassion, and the incredible team of ranchers who refused to give up. And let's carry those lessons with us as we go forward, using them to inspire and guide us in our own lives. Because the truth is, we all have the power to be heroes. We all have the ability to make a difference, to change lives, and to create a better world. It doesn't matter if you're rescuing a horse from a well, volunteering at a local shelter, or simply showing kindness to the animals in your own backyard. Every action counts. Every effort matters. And if this story has inspired you, if it's reminded you of the importance of compassion and the power of hope, then don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey. Together we can continue to make a difference. Together we can be the voice for the voiceless, the hope for the hopeless, and the heroes for those who need us most. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about one horse, one rescue, or one story. It's about all of us, coming together, standing up for what's right, and creating a world where every creature, big and small, has the chance to live a life free from fear and suffering. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe now and let's make a difference together. Thank you for watching, and remember, The power to change lives is in your hands. Let's use it wisely.